Okay, good. Hello, everyone. This is SymposiumX, the podcast series expert speaker. And today, what an honor that we have Regine Gilbert with us today. And we are in this very challenging time now, and yet we are with smiles. And Regine just actually recovered from COVID-19, and I'm so excited that she can speak with us today. Hi, Regine. Yeah.
Hi, how are you, Rachel?
Oh my
Thank
goodness,
you.
we're
Thank
talking
you for
about.
having me.
Oh wow, like can never imagine, right? Huh?
Yeah,
And
you never know what life will bring your way for sure.
yeah, and incredible story, and I love your smile. I love your picture. I'm going to show your picture in this podcast and splash it everywhere. So honored that you are speaking on web accessibility,
Yeah.
and so I would like first to let everybody know a bit about our expert, you, right? So Regine, would you can you share a bit about your background and let us know how you get into web accessibility? And I know that you are in NYU, you're a professor there, and
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of interesting work, but tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. So, hey, everybody who's listening. My name is Regine Gilbert. I'm a visiting industry assistant professor at NYU, and I currently teach user experience design as well as a class called Looking Forward, which is an assistive technology class teaching students about technologies that the blind and low vision use. And I got into accessibility, frankly. I mean, I just woke up one day and I said, I want to make the world a more accessible place. What does that mean? And so I Googled accessibility in New York City, and then an accessibility meetup popped up, and they happened to have a meeting pretty close to the date that I looked. And so I went to the meetup and I said, this is great, because at the time I was a UX designer, and so I started to focus in more on accessibility meaning that I make websites, mobile sites, mobile applications accessible for people with disabilities. So that's kind of how I fell into it, and I went on to create guidelines at different companies I've worked with. I've written a book on it since I got into it, which is kind of wild. I have an online course on Skillshare called Inclusive UX. So it's kind of evolved into something that was a passion that I've managed to incorporate into my day-to-day life. And frankly, it is my life's work. I do not see my work with accessibility stopping just because I end a job or anything else. It continues. I continue to be an advocate because I think it's really important that we talk about it, that we incorporate it, and that we do it. We make the world a more accessible place.
Isn't that interesting? And it's so appropriate for today's environment. How can we make it accessible for everybody, regardless, right? For
Yeah.
resources. So how appropriate, right? So what advice would you give to someone who wants to get into this space? And before you even answer that question, how to make web accessibility like sexy, like everybody like
Well,
think about it. Like I bet you some people do not even know what web accessibility is about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, from what I know, when I tell people, especially like people in my family, what I do for a living, they go, "Oh, I never thought about that before." And what I do in to like break it down in the most simple way, I think is I ask people a question. I ask them a couple questions. I ask, have you ever wanted to go somewhere and couldn't get in? Have you, how did that make you feel when you couldn't get in? And that's what we do basically when we don't make things accessible for people. right? There's a feeling associated with that, and it's typically not a good one. And so, I think for all of us, we all like to feel good, right? And so why not create products and services that allow for people to feel good when they use them? Meaning that
Wow.
if I'm anybody, I can access it.
Well, so looking from the experience point of view, this totally makes sense. Huh?
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Regine, thank you so much. I'm going to stop here and then I'm going to make the second podcast and talk more about your work itself.
Okay.
But thank you so much, all right,
Yeah.
for this little intro and superb to have you. All right, I'm
Okay.
stopping now.